Hello and welcome to your much later than usual Club Everton Daily. The date is Monday the 9th of October 2012, and the more observant amongst you may be asking, well, what the hell happened to that episode of Club Everton Radio we promised you? Well, anyone who was present for the recording will have noticed that other than the absolute farce that the recording turned into very early on, thanks to a certain someone, we had an almighty balls up in terms of technical issues. The software that I used to record the panel just completely died on me, to the point where it just completely will not work, and it slowed my laptop down to a crawl, to the point where I had to actually remove it from my computer. So at the moment, we've got no way of recording the panel, and until I can find some way of doing it, as it stands, the podcast is back on hiatus. I deeply apologise for that after all the hype we've given it, and I know that people have been looking forward to it, so to the two of you, I do deeply apologise. But what I'll do in the meantime is I'll keep on top of these dailies. And I'll also recommend that you give the Folletonians podcast and the NSNO Everton podcast and the NSNO Everton Dailies a listen as well, because they're worth the time and effort, and the people behind them put a lot of time and effort into making them. So definitely give those a listen. I'll repeat that in English, and I'll put the links in the description. Well, anyway, YouTube seems to be our domain for now, so let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to do a news roundup, and our article of interest for today, yes, we're doing another one, is miracles may not be enough to save Simon Grayson, which is a look at Leeds United's troubles at the moment. You may be wondering what relevance that has to us, and the answer is probably none, but it's a hot topic at the moment, especially where I live, Leeds, if you haven't guessed. So that's going to be our article of interest for today. It's a pretty interesting story as well, but anyway, that's not what you're here for. You're here for Everton news, and that's what we're going to do right now. So let's get down to it. Oh, we're also going to do the transfer rumours as well, I forgot to mention. Anyway, let's go on with the news. A couple of things to mention, the first of which is the return of the Antichrist himself, as Mark Clattenburg has been announced as the man with the whistle for when we take on Aston Villa at Villa Park, fittingly enough, on the 14th of January, this Saturday, of course. Mark Clattenburg hasn't reffed an Everton match since the absolute farce of a Merseyside derby in 2006, I think it was. And I'm sure that the travelling contingent's memories are quite longer than what he'll be expecting. It'll be interesting to see the reaction from the travelling faithful. Other news, the Blue Union have released a statement following Bill Kenwright's comments outside the gates at Goodison Park ahead of the Tamworth game. The statement is quite long, and I've not got time to read it out on this, so again, link in the description. And we'll just have a quick look at news now and see if anything big is coming up. Bear with me. See how well prepared we are for these dailies. You can't even remotely tell that I'd done this very quickly because I was very busy today. Ah, there we go. Les Parry, Tranmere manager, what's wrong with me today, admitted the Tranmere had to be content with their points after an entertaining 2-2 draw with Bradford at Prenton Park. He was talking about the excellent work of Jose Baxter, whose loan spell at Tranmere is now over, so on his way back to Goodison. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But anyway, that is it for the news on today's daily, and we're going to move on to the transfer rumours as soon as they load up. Here we go. Tottenham boss Harry Redknapp has claimed that Demba Ba's release clause is actually around half the £10 million that was mooted over the weekend, which could be set to spark a transfer frenzy. Tottenham are believed to be planning a move for defender James Collins, with Aston Villa ready to listen to offers in excess of £3 million for the 28-year-old, which immediately rules us out. That's according to the Metro. The first story was from the Daily Mirror. Excuse me for not mentioning the sources. The Daily Racist reports that Man United are planning a late bid to sign Bolton defender Gary Cahill. That's despite Chelsea agreeing a fee for the England international. The Mirror is also reporting that Blackburn are targeting French winger Wabri Khazri, I know I pronounced that one wrong, as a possible replacement for contract rebel Junior Hoylett. Inside Football reports that Chelsea forward Gael Kakuta will spend the rest of the season on loan at Dijon. The Daily Racist reports that West Ham are set to revise their offer for Huddersfield striker Jordan Rhodes after he netted 5 goals against Wycombe on Friday. And Caught Offside reports that Man United manager Sir Alex Ferguson is still looking to add 2 new faces to his squad in the form of Borussia Dortmund pair Mario Götze and Neven Subotic. In other gossip, Neil Warnock left QPR after a bust-up with owner Tony Fernandez over the signing of Blackburn's striker Yakubu. QPR is set to hold talks with the former Man City and Fulham boss Mark Hughes on Tuesday as they seek a replacement for Warnock, who was sacked on Sunday. As well as Mark Hughes, Gianfranco Zola is a possibility for the QPR job and will bring Ray Wilkins with him as his assistant. That's according to this cunt rag. The Mirror reports the first one, Goal.com report the second. I'm all over the place today, excuse me. Talkshite reports the former QPR boss Ray Wilkins believes the current players need to take more responsibility for their current situation. The cunt rag also reports that Nico Kranjčar has done a U-turn and insists that he is ready to fight for his Tottenham future to resurrect his international career with Croatia. And finally, there's 2 of them. It never makes sense that way. Diego Maradona, according to the Metro, has questions whether Paris Saint-Germain sporting director Leonardo is a football man or an oil dealer. In a rant, he said, "I wonder if he's a player, coach, agent or oil dealer. I do not understand." But you could take the last 4 words of that statement and just, apply it to the entirety of Diego Maradona's inner monologue. And finally, 101 Great Goals reports the former Italy striker Christian Vieri has been showing off his silky footwork with the appearance on Italy's Strictly Come Dancing. Yes, that's relevant to the big stories in the press today, isn't it? Right, well, anyway, that's that for the transfer gossip, so let's move on to our article of interest, which is written by Simon Creasy. And it is, miracles might not be enough to save Simon Grayson. A draw, 3 defeats, and a fortuitous injury time victory wasn't the sort of Christmas present Leeds fans were hoping for. That this diet return over the festive period bears all the hallmarks of last season's mid-term collapse hasn't helped quell the growing calls for a change in both the boardroom and management at Ellen Road. Had Ross McCormick not fired him from close range in injury time following a goalkeeping error to clinch an unlikely and unconvincing win against 10-man Burnley, Leeds may well have gone into their FA Cup third round clash with Arsenal tonight without a manager. On paper, Simon Grayson's record is impeccable. Playoffs, automatic promotion and then 7th in the club's first season back in the Championship. That he achieved this on a sceptical budget makes his achievements all the more remarkable. His diehard supporters can rightly point out that the current slump in form corresponds with the loss of talismanic skipper Johnny Howson, Robert Snodgrass as well, arguably 2 of the club's most gifted players. Couple this with the departure of Bradley Johnson, Neil Kilkenny and of course Max Gradle in the summer, then the fact that the club is only 1 point shy of a playoff place at the moment is nothing short of miraculous. But what continues to irk supporters in the club's is the club's woeful defensive record. Last season Leeds were one of the top scorers in the division, where only a handful of teams conceded more goals. Despite Grayson bringing in numerous defenders and continually shuffling the pack to find a winning formula, the defensive malaise continues. The only ray of sunshine is the emergence of academy products such as A.D. White and Tom Lees. Grayson's patchy form in the transfer market hasn't helped to silence those calling for his head. Excluding White, the 11 players that face the club's South Yorkshire rivals Barnsley were Grayson signings, a point not lost on supporters who witnessed a 4-1 drubbing. Given the lack of cash in the transfer kitty and the board's unwillingness to pay competitive wages, the chances of Leeds bringing in any players of note in the January transfer window look grim. Loan signings like Andros Townsend from Spurs might help shore things up in the short term, but with slim financial resources it's unlikely that Grayson will be able to bring in a handful of quality players that would give the club a realistic chance of having a genuine shot at a playoff place. With Chairman Ken Bates not renowned for his patience, it seems increasingly unlikely that Grayson will be at the club come the end of the season, regardless of whether or not he causes a cup upset at the Emirates this evening. That's the big game going on today in the FA Cup, Arsenal against Leeds, and I desperately found some relevance for that article because I was really struggling for stuff for today's daily, if I'm being honest. But anyway, that is it. That is it for today's daily. Before we let you go, we'll let you know how you can get in touch with us on social media. We are on Facebook, of course. Link is in the description, or you can go to Facebook and search for Club Everton if you're not entirely lazy. Find us on Twitter, @Club Everton is our handle. If you want to just type in the URL, twitter.com/Club Everton. We're also on Google+, link is in the description. Google+ isn't that easy to navigate. And don't forget, we're also on iTunes, Club Everton Radio. We're also somewhere else that escaped me. Oh yes, this YouTube channel. You can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. It's usually above us, but then again, given YouTube's policy of changing things every couple of days, that is up for debate. But anyway, that's about it, and all that's left for me to tell you is that Club Everton Daily is brought to you. I'll repeat that because I'm losing sight of things again. Club Everton Daily is brought to you by Hans Tours, the official travel partner of clubeverton.co.uk. For more information, visit hanstours.co.uk or give Hannah a ring on 077 521 21 395. Hans Tours, first class away day travel. Thank you for listening, we'll see you tomorrow.